Hello and welcome back to the Zouk line. My name is Adam. Today we're going to talk with Dan Yamamoto. Now, you might know him from his photography, his videography, or maybe even a video featuring him and his partner dancing in an intimate way in Bali. So we'll touch on all of that in just a moment. But before we do, I want to pose a question to you, the viewer, which is, who is Zouk for? When I was growing up, I was in band, and then come marching band season, I was a percussionist. So I played the snare, and so I had a huge love and appreciation for the drums. Always have, always will. I still do to this day. When I was much older, like long after high school, I discovered taiko drums. And taikos, for those that don't know, taiko drums, it is it's a traditional Japanese drumming style. Now, when I saw that, I loved it and appreciated it, but I also knew that that is a cultural activity, that is for me to view, but not necessarily for me to go take taiko lessons. It felt inappropriate to me for some reason. And so the question is Zouk that way? Like, are people who aren't Brazilian supposed to stay out of the teaching or innovative side of Zouk? I think this is a question that I want to explore more in future episodes, and I hope to do so with you and with some more guests in the future. But that's something I wanted to just ask, and if you have any thoughts, feel free to share it in the comments or any of the social medias. So Discord, whatever, you know, all this stuff. So anyway, let's just go ahead and get into the interview with Dan, and I hope you enjoy it. We'll see you on the other side. Hey, what's going on, Dan? How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. You got a nice. What do you got there? Is that a latte? What do you got?
Caramel macchiato.
Oh, here we go. That's a good idea. I should have made one for myself.
Don't make one. It's guilty pleasure.
Yeah, no kidding. God, that's awesome. So we'll just dive in. It's just have you seen any of the other episodes that I've done with anybody?
I saw maybe a couple actually. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it's just a conversation. We just talk through just whatever comes up, and then we just go from there. It's all pretty light. So okay, welcome. You've been in the Zouk scene. Okay, let's just go back to the beginning. When did you discover Zouk? Who are your what's your initial path into Zouk?
First off, I want to say that these things make me nervous.
Okay, yeah, no worries.
However, I feel super chill with you. I feel like it's just a conversation, so this is where I'm just gonna put it. That being kind of go off in weird places, and I hope that's okay for you.
Oh yeah. Of course. Is there a way you could turn your phone sideways? Because I think the microphone's bouncing off the table, so it's like cutting off your.
Is that better?
Yeah. The audio sounds a lot better now. Okay, cool. So, okay, yeah. No, don't worry about being nervous. It's all good. Yeah, conversation, and then it's no pressure at all. So it's all good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
what's your history? Yeah.
I started dancing in January 2014, West Coast Swing, and January 9, I went to my first event. It was in Denver, called Denver Fusion Exchange, and Evo and Shani were teaching there, and they had this really cool setup where it's like, I don't know, 5, 8, some bunch of classes happening at the same time, but they would do demos before the classes, so you get to see all these different styles of dance. And I saw Evo and Shani demoing there and was like, wow, that dance looks sweet, but I've already committed 9 days to West Coast Swing, so.
Oh shit. So you're going hard with what? You're a hardcore Westie at the time?
Yeah, 9 days in, really serious.
Oh, 9 days in like. Oh, I see what you're saying. What did you do before that? Like, were you a salsa bachata person before that, or just straight West Coast Swing?
I did East Coast Swing, fusion, blues, a little bit of indie for some small years, once a month or something. Not really dancing, but West Coast Swing got me into dance, and I feel like I became a dancer once I started West Coast Swing.
Okay. Like where were you living during this time? Like were you in LA or
Mm, I was in Tampa, Florida.
you're in Florida? Okay, okay. So you saw Shawnee Evo. What did you do next? Like did you find teach like who was teaching back then? Like in
Yeah, so I
or
didn't start like I was very dedicated to West Coast swing. I put 3 years super serious in the West Coast, and I was flirting with Zouk when it happened.
yeah.
Um, I remember I randomly went into like a little bubble with Juana Vasquez and Igor Fraga, like
Yeah.
October 2014, something like that.
Ah.
I met them at a West Coast event and kind of went back home with them. They were living at one of Joe's houses called the Kizook House. That was back when Zouk was really just starting in California. So I spent a
Yeah.
couple months with them, traveling up and down the coast when they had like two or three people in class in San Francisco, and like LA was a super small scene.
Oh
I
yeah.
feel like Christina Montoya was like a baby student then, and yeah, like
Yeah.
it's a long time ago.
That was a while. Yeah. Then like JC was JC around during that time too for that?
Yeah, he and I started the same day,
Okay.
more or less. First class, we were like, yeah, day one buddies.
Holy shit, that's awesome. That is awesome. So yeah, so what's been your? I mean, obviously now you are living in Bali, so like let's see if we can connect the dots. So like, so what? So you're with Shawnee or what? Well, yeah. So you're was wait, who's your teacher? So who's your was Juana your teacher? Like when you're
So I
in
didn't like I popped in for 3 years flirting with Zouk, but I didn't really, I'm the type of person that has to go all in.
yeah.
So after I got injured doing West Coast Swing, and that kind of brought me into Zouk.
Uh,
And even when I was in Zouk for 3 years full time, I was more doing media. It was like so random how I entered Zouk. I
uh,
couldn't really walk. I was injured, so I was like, the dancing was like sitting in a chair, dancing with people on like the Queen Mary.
yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Um, so how did I train? Most of my teachers, I feel like I did like actually I started with Shani for some months. Um, Maybe 2017. I kind of started there in LA.
Yeah.
And then the next time that I really put effort into Zouk was after COVID. I decided that video was going to be my way of doing things in Zouk, and I realized
Yeah.
that I needed to learn how to dance to capture
All
Zouk.
right. It's so funny. Yeah, yeah. Because for a while, I remember before COVID, you were primarily doing photography, right? Like you were like a stills photographer, which
Yeah,
very very talented photographer. If I mean I know you know this, but yeah, just your work is just fantastic. Uh, really good work. So how did you pick that up? How did you pick up the photography?
yeah. So I was injured. My dance partner at the time for West Coast Swing, she was teaching media in a university in Chicago, and I was like 3 months laid out, sitting on the couch smoking weed and playing video games. And she was like, "Hey, I need some help on this project. I'm gonna go film a video um, of dance. Come be my second shooter." So she gave me a camera, and I went and shot that. And after the shoot, she was like, "Okay, here's the camera. It's yours. Now go do something with your life." And kind of kicked me out.
Holy shit, that's amazing. What was the camera? Do you remember the model? The model of the camera?
uh, it was an SL1, Canon SL1. It's like a baby Rebel camera, super entry level.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
so I was using that, but when she kicked me out, like basically she took care of me for 3 months. I couldn't walk. She was walking me to the bathroom. So she like
yeah,
recovered me, got me back to health, and then kicked me out so that I would get out of depression and do something, which was
yeah,
amazing actually. I thank her for that.
yeah.
And I was using her laptop so I could do video, but when she kicked me out, the laptop that I had was trash, like not good enough to do video. So I started taking photos. I crashed with a friend for 3 weeks, and then Shani invited me out to LA for
Hmm.
LA Zoo Congress just to come hang out. And I can't dance, but I brought my camera and I took some photos, and that was kind of like
Yeah.
where it started. And the Monday after party, I was taking nice pictures in the park, and Alex Chang saw my photos and was like, "Hey, I want you at my event next week in New York." And I was like, "That's nice. I don't have any money. I don't have a flight to New York. That's not. I don't think it's gonna work out." And he's like, "No, I'll take care of you. You can stay at my house. We'll feed you. Just come and take some photos." And so basically, after LA Zouk Congress, every weekend I somehow randomly got invited to an event. The week after was Canada Zouk Congress, and every week I was popping into events, and every week somehow it managed to work. Alex and Joe were huge supporters and promoters of my work, and 2 years pass, and I'm like full time in Zouk somehow doing photos.
Get out of here. That's amazing. That's wow. Okay. And then so then where was this relative to COVID? So were you doing photos when COVID hit?
Mm, so that was 2 years before COVID, like 2017.
Oh, okay.
So I
Okay. Uh-huh.
was doing photos for 2 years. Yeah, when COVID hit, it cut everything. Around the time that COVID happened, I was like super deep into portraits.
Uh-huh.
I was doing Zouk events every week and then portraits during the week.
Okay.
And somehow I managed some ridiculous job where I was going on vacation with people, doing a photo shoot before and after, and then kind of doing event photography in during the week for people on vacation. And then I would line that up with dance events. So that kind of started my international tours.
Oh, so this is just like a family? Would they go on a vacation and they'd hire you to take pictures of that family, like outside of dance you're talking about?
Yeah, it started with dancers, but then it moved into like, yeah, people who it wasn't families. It was like one person who would take me out on vacation,
Mm-hmm.
or take themselves on vacation, but wanted somebody to do photos of them while they're on vacation.
Oh wow. Oh
So
wow.
I would
Okay.
line that up with dance events. It was like A+ job.
Holy shit. Okay. So you were doing that during the week, dancing or well shooting dance events during the weekends. And you were doing this for like what, 4 years? Like the two before and then you started doing more this kind of work this whole time you were doing shooting?
Yeah, I was only shooting for like 2, 3 years from like I said, like 2017. I don't remember when COVID hit.
Uh-huh.
2020.
2020. Yeah. Like March of
So yeah,
2020, I
I
think.
shot straight up until the end of COVID,
Uh-huh.
and I would have kept shooting, except everybody's budgets were kind of messed up, and I
Yeah.
didn't feel like shooting for free. Like they were going to cover my expenses, but I needed money.
Yeah.
So I switched over to video because I was like, well, if they're not going to pay me to shoot, maybe I learn a new skill.
Okay, yeah.
So I switched over to video at that time.
Okay. And then was it the same path for video where just one person saw you, then the next and the next and
Yeah, well, so by that time I had already had like a lot of contacts. I just reached out to all the events that I had worked on before and said, "Hey, I would love to work with you guys." And the story was the same every time. Like all the events were struggling for money because they invested it during COVID and didn't get it back, so didn't have budget for me. So I just told
yeah.
them I would love to do media, but I'm going to be doing video.
Yeah.
And then I created a new, before it was always like the event pays me to do my work.
Right.
And because the events didn't have money, I was like, all right, it's a good time to figure out how I can create a new business model.
Right.
And so I just was capturing social dancing and asking for donation.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'd get $5, $10. Sometimes I'd get $100, and every now and then I'd get like $300 to $500.
Okay.
And I was like, holy shit,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
this is crazy.
that's, a, that's a good client. That's a good social dance to catch. One of those, right?
Yeah. So yeah, then I realized like let's take the pressure off the organizers and work with people who actually want to invest in their videos and their media and really help out those people.
Okay. Wow. Okay. And then so were you nomading this whole time, or were you based out of someplace?
I was 10 years nomading with a couple stops here and there. I lived in Seattle for some months. I lived in LA for some months. Yeah, but basically 10 years every weekend somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 470 events, include like West Coast and Zouk, and every weekend just kind of hopping around.
Jeez, that's amazing. 10 years. All right, so then how did you end up in Bali? That's where you are currently, right? Like you're living
Yeah.
there.
So there's an event here called Zouk Embodiment Retreat. 2 years ago, uh, Elvina, the organizer, she invited me out here to work. And I had already been to Bali before. I didn't know that they had a Zouk community when I came. I came right before COVID. And when I
Mm-hmm.
stepped onto the land, I was like, wow, this feels like home. I was just here for 5 days. I was doing a photo shoot out here and was like, this place is amazing, but there's no Zouk, so next.
Right.
Then I get on a plane and find out they have Bali Zouk retreat here, and was like, wow, they actually have Zouk here. Um, then COVID happened. When uh, I came back for the event. That was the next time I came back, and the event was amazing. And I was supposed to go to New York Zouk Congress the week after, and Alvina was like, "I think I want you to stay. Um, we have an after party 1 week in Uluwatu. It's a city close by on the island." And I was like, "No, I can't. I need to run off to the next event. It's starting in a couple of days." And she was basically like, "How much are they paying you?" Uh, so I shared the numbers, and she's like, "All right, how about if I give you that money and you stay on vacation here?" And I was like, "You're fucking crazy. Why would you even do that? You know?" And she was sharing that like rest, relaxation, um, is super important, um, and that she would invest money in that for me. And I was
Yeah.
like, I mean, if you want to lose on your money, okay, I'm down to take vacation and get paid for it.
Right. Right.
But during that, like on that vacation and on this trip in general, I realized that wow, I can do just as much, and the results of my work be just as much without forcing everything. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
realized this idea of like the difference between human doing and human being. Does that make sense?
Yeah. 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 Huh.
It didn't make sense to me then, but yeah, it was like the first taste. Um, that trip completely changed my life, and I feel like after I canceled, I decided to do an event in Singapore with Brendan Anderson. A couple weeks later, and then I came back. I had a U.S. and Europe tour planned, and I just kind of let those events go. I let my flight go. I let the events go, and I went back to Bali for like 3 weeks, and was like, wow. I spent 3 weeks. My body was really messed up. Um, I did like 40 hours of massage in like 22 days.
Wow.
I just decided to like spend time healing, try to recover, take slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
And my whole life, everybody's telling me to slow down, but
Yeah. 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 So are your parent like? Are you in touch with your parents and all that? Are they part of your life these days?
I think that when I left my corporate job, my relationship with my family changed a lot. I think my
Uh-huh.
whole life, my relationship with my family was not my favorite. But when I quit corporate life, I was an art director in an advertising agency, following my dream. Very, my whole life, I was like following the American dream.
Yeah.
And when I left what seemed to be exactly my path and everything was perfect, I left that to go dance. Like 3 months into dancing West Coast swing, I was like, all right, I think I like this thing and I'm gonna dedicate my life to it. That kind
Yeah.
of changed things with my family.
Oh, right on, right on. And is it after all this time? Is it still like an issue, or is it cool?
Yeah, I pretty much didn't really have contact for 8 years with very little contact.
Wow. Yeah.
But last year they randomly called me, um, and were like, "Hey, you want to come home for Christmas?" So yeah, we'll see. I think I've been doing a lot of self healing and self work here, and family ties internally, and they say
Yeah.
that that will then radiate into the world and will not just help me, but help my other people that I'm connecting the healing with.
Mhm.
And then randomly I get a call saying, "Hey, come home." So maybe it's working.
Yeah, that's amazing. Honestly, that really is. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
So it hasn't really changed, but there's a welcome invitation to go home. So maybe next year I go home. We'll see.
Oh, this was after Christmas, or was this before, or did you
It
just
was
not
like a week
go?
or two before Christmas. It was very short notice, and I had already had a bunch of plans and things set up here. So just the gesture was amazing. I was crying, but I didn't end up going. But I told them that I would love to come back home.
All right, and they're are they in Florida too? Is that where they're based?
Um, they have a home in Massachusetts.
Oh, okay. Okay. Cool. Oh, right on. Um, should we talk about the famous video, right? The famous video. You know we got to talk about
Interesting.
it.
Yeah, I haven't really talked publicly about that. Um, I was watching it and having all kinds of emotions, but just not really commenting at all on that. Just watching the whole thing go down.
Yeah.
Whew. My stomach kind of like while we're talking about
Yeah.
like
I
what?
mean, yeah. Because I have thoughts on it, but I'll wait till after you speak your thought. Like, yeah, I have thoughts on not on what you on your dance at all. It's more about the reaction to it. But I don't want to sway your what how you feel about it, or what you say about it. But
So I'll share. Um, I don't know. I'll just let it flow and see what happens.
yeah,
It's so interesting. I feel the sensations of my stomach closing. My Wow, it's interesting. Okay, so the moment that this video was recorded, um, more or less, I had just started a relationship with Simone. She's the girl in the video. It was just after the retreat. All of us were in like a super good vibe. We were super
yeah,
connected. We went through a lot of deep space. The container that we were in was very held and very beautiful, very safe. All of us were on this high. Um, and I've never recorded myself or allowed myself to be recorded dancing, in this intimate way. Normally, all the videos before that, when a camera gets in front of me, I kind of flip the switch to like almost a Jack and Jill mentality, where I'm
don't
like,
we all? Yes.
spinning, let's do safe things and make a cool show,
Yep.
And in that moment, I was like, let me push into my fears and let myself be and see what happens. I don't know what it looks like on camera. I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of fear around being vulnerable, authentic, showing this emotion, showing this way that I like to dance, and um, yeah, seeing what happens when that goes on camera. Um, we were dancing already for like I don't know half an hour or something before that video started, and then Dia picked up her phone and started recording us. And I was like, yeah, I had this internal dialogue. Do I keep dancing this way? Do I leave? And I'm like, you know what? I just dance, be authentic and see what happens. So there's like this 17-minute video. And then I forgot about it. It
Mm-hmm.
happened. I don't normally watch content. I know I create a lot of it, but I don't really
Yeah.
watch it. I just let it happen, whether I'm creating or in the content or behind the camera. So yeah, some months passed. Um, Simone was like, "Hey, I kind of want to post that video." I think she was in Europe when she was telling me this, and I know she was watching the video a lot and really feeling a lot of emotion from it. And I was like, "Yeah, do whatever you want, like whatever."
Mm-hmm.
So actually, I think the video was broken up into like three parts, and one or two of the parts had already been posted. She was back in Bali while they were started to get posted, and the day that that one was posted, actually, I had an interesting moment with some friends sharing about um, dancing in this way in a public space. There, the I was talking with my qigong teacher. Qigong is like a kung fu for moving energy and healing, and then
Okay.
also my shaman. They're both involved in the Zouk scene, and we were just having like an open, vulnerable conversation about dance. And my shaman was just mentioning that like it's very dancing intimately in this way can be dangerous for you, for your partner, because you open yourselves up so deeply.
Yeah.
And if you do it in an open container where it's not sacred, um, it can invite in a lot of bad energy, bad, like negative energy or like entities, things that I don't really understand. They're kind of hungry for this light, this openness, and they'll go in there and eat it. Um, and I didn't really understand what that meant, but I was just kind of listening. And she was just recommending not to put this in public, not to, do it more behind doors. Um, I have my different feelings about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, it was just interesting that that conversation happened. Um, I feel like it's going to get taken out of context in this message, but I think it's okay. But then that was the same around the same moment that this video was posted. And then like an hour later, um, Alex posted something on this video, and then he posted again. And shortly after, like that was like the start of like some crazy fire.
Which Alex? Alex Chang or Alex Cavallo
Carvalho.
or? Oh, okay, okay, yeah, yeah.
I don't remember exactly what the post was, and I'm pretty sure that it was edited later. Something about like, yeah, I I don't remember, so I think I won't share. But it was just something that was this video is not Zouk is not meant for married couples or something weird. Some kind
Uh
of
huh.
yeah, I didn't really understand the comment. But in the next 24 hours, we had like hundreds of shares and hundreds of comments that were very aggressive.
Yeah.
Um, and this was a very beautiful and interesting time for Simone and I because, uh, yeah, I feel like I'd never received this kind of hate. And it was challenging because it was like something very vulnerable that I was sharing. That actually, after watching it, I was like, I thought it was beautiful. It was like, wow, there's so much beauty in this moment that we created together.
Yeah.
Um, it was at a closed party. It was I think it was like, I don't remember exactly what was happening, but it was some special event, like Brenda's going away or something like this. And it's just interesting to see, like, kind of like a witch hunt of like nobody checking in and asking what happened or caring to, I don't know, caring to check in or anything. It was just like people made a bunch of assumptions and then just attacked it. And um
Because
yeah,
I
it
feel
felt
like
like
Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
oh, you can go ahead. What do you have to say?
No, I was just gonna mention that like, 'cause at this point you had, I mean, you've been studying Zouk for years and years and years. So you studied in Brazil. You spent time in Europe too, right? Like studying a bit,
Hmm.
you know. So like, these are all like the big famous names, um, that were like commenting on it, people that you've looked up to and all that. So I imagine that that was a pretty jarring and hurtful thing for them to be so publicly denounced.
Yeah, I felt like it was a big attack, and if that had happened a couple months before, it would have really, really affected me. Um, just around that time, I decided I want to settle down in Bali. When I quit my corporate job, I said I'm only gonna dedicate my life to Zouk or to dance. I want to work only in the dance community, and yeah, just put dedication there. And right before this video came out, I decided I'd put 10 years into Zouk, into dance. I feel like that's a pretty deep dedication. And now I'm open to letting money flow from wherever the universe brings it.
Mm-hmm.
So, had that happened while money was tied into Zouk, it would have probably really crushed me. It's like, wow, I've dedicated so much time and energy and effort. I've invested so much. Like, I did a calculation recently, and it's like over $1 million worth of travel and events if you were to calculate the expenditure.
Yeah.
And in one video where I didn't even post this, I felt like people just attacked it. And it's like, wow, I put so much time and effort into this dance. And then people just attack. It's like, wow, I don't know. It
Yeah.
felt not so nice and very eye opening.
And so for the people who missed the video, like, so the video is just that the two of you just having just like a close intimate dance, and then the criticism in the comments were that, oh, this isn't Zouk, this is giving Zouk a bad name, and all of this kind of stuff, right? Like, and for me, I mean, I have to say, for me, that was the first time I had ever seen that kind of public criticism of any dance, really. And then, like, at the time, there were a lot of conversations being had. I mean, you weren't privy to a lot of this. A lot of these are in like little side chats, But there were tons and tons of like conversations about it, and people being like, there are so many other videos of people doing the same thing, and it just is, and it's no one saying a word, and it was a really strange thing to witness, just from the spectator side of it. Um, so okay, so like when you received all of that feedback, uh, what did you? Yeah, what were your next steps? Were you like, oh, they're right, or oh, fuck those guys, or like what was your internal response to all of that?
Yeah, because money wasn't on the line as much anymore. I kind of was like, let me just witness what happens to me. Like, I'm angry, I'm happy, like just witness my emotions that I'm going through. I had actually Simone and I decided to take like 3-day vacation. Bali's a beautiful island, but it's very busy in Ubud, and
Mm-hmm.
it's very easy to get caught up in dancing. We just dance all day long, every day. And so we went to like a place an hour outside. We rented a beautiful place, and we just kind of journaled and talked about it and discussed. And I felt like we went through the range of emotions. It challenged us in so many ways, like challenged my ego, challenged my heart, challenged my, I used to feel that, I mean, I still do, but I feel that Zouk is like my family, dance is my family.
Yeah.
I don't have a family, and I felt very connected to the dance family. And then, yeah, so I don't know. I actively was struggling to not share my opinions because I felt that I was, I don't know, all over the place emotionally on this. But in the end, it kind of felt good. It was like I just recently also had an experience that brought to light this idea of triggers being potentially a gift, and that it triggers mirror what is hurting you inside. And I just came to that realization the week before. And so I was like, wow, we really triggered a lot of people. Um,
Wait, sorry.
and
Could you clarify that? You were saying what triggers me? Wait, sorry. Could you repeat that? I'm sorry. I missed that part.
it's the idea that a trigger is a
Uh huh.
mirror for yourself, and that
Oh,
it
I
really
see.
shows you what you need to work on
I see.
or not work on. But it's a little portal into something that's hurting you.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm triggered because someone is mm, doing something that I don't like, probably I wish that I could do that.
Yeah.
Or yeah, I don't know. I'm still exploring this idea.
Yeah.
But whenever I find myself triggered, I look at that and I'm like, why am I upset about this action that somebody else is doing? And how can I grow? What is the pain point here? What's happening to me? And yeah, so I was thinking that in this video, like, wow, it's a lot of people are feeling a lot of pain.
Hmm.
And we did this video in love. We we're not trying to hurt anybody from this video, so our intentions were, I feel, very good. If anything, it was like a very vulnerable thing to share. And I think it's okay that everybody has different opinions. It's something that I realized or decided. Um, I think that for as many people that posted hate, there was just as many people in private conversations sharing support. Um, I wish that the hate was a little bit more conscious and thoughtful,
Yeah.
not just like a bandwagon of sharing the same thing.
Yeah.
Uh, I wish that there was more seeking to understand,
Hmm.
but at the same time, it's okay. I think like there was also a group of supporters that were also just kind of like on the bandwagon supporting because they wanted to support. So I think on both sides, everybody has their thing, and it was just kind of interesting to observe and to grow within myself, and also realize that wow, my actions can have a lot of effect. Um, it triggered. There was triggers like I had some calls like with Brenda and Anderson and Paloma and Shanji, um, which was also very surprising and nice. A bunch of my teachers here in Bali reached out to me privately, and it was interesting to hear everybody's opinions. Uh, People that I really respect saying that it also triggered them uh, on both sides, the support and uh, I don't know, not support.
Right.
um,
Yeah.
and in some way, I thought that was beautiful. Like they were sharing that uh, dancing, being able to freely express themselves can be challenging because they're scared of being attacked. You know,
Yeah.
uh, of all the of a lot of the people that wrote stuff. I mean, my job was to witness dance for 10 years, and I've seen most of these people dancing at least in a way that I was dancing. You know,
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely. Yeah.
I've recorded much juicier videos,
Exactly.
and yeah. So I don't know. What did I? What was I feeling? What I felt the whole spectrum, and it just kind of. I feel that it was beautiful. A lot of people reached out and was saying that it touched them. That they would like to have the ability to have emotions in this way or to express emotions in this way. The people that were really upset about it, maybe they also would like to express emotion, and maybe they can only distinguish that this is some sort of sexual act. Where I feel that this dance wasn't even to me sexual. Like, sure, we're
Right.
moving sexual energy. I feel like Zouk is a dance that really moves energy.
Yeah.
Um, did we didn't go home and have sex after or anything, it was just like a point of expressing emotion.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I think that I'm still processing this video. I think that Simone
Yeah.
has really good insight, and I'm not so great at expressing, especially when it's on camera. And
They record
um,
it. Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Of course. Yeah. How did Simone handle it? How was her? How did she settle with
man,
it?
I feel it's so interesting that Simone had just been dancing for like 1 month
Yeah.
when, and then a couple months later, all these people that she has no idea who they are messaging all this hate on her video, and like, I
Can
think
you
it scared
imagine?
her. Like,
Yeah.
I think it scared her. Like, in a lot of ways, I feel like Zouk is a safe space to express freely. Um, and then we're expressing freely and realizing that it's not such a safe space after all, you know?
Right.
Um, so I feel that at first she was like really scared, like, wow, all this hate. She's not like a big influencer on Instagram or anything. This was probably one of her most viewed videos at the time. And just surprised that like this thing that she's really felt safe in and feeling love in, then just kind of bites back.
Yeah.
Um, but she's also in the process of freely expressing herself online. Um, she's exploring sensual liberation, and this is kind of her journey. So,
What is that? What is sensual liberation? What is that?
um, to be honest, uh, I haven't had so many conversations on the depth of what that is,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
and I don't want to speak for her in that way, but
Right.
the
That's
way
fair.
I
That's fair.
perceive it, the
Uh
way I
huh.
perceive it is that fighting like her, she calls herself like a love warrior,
Mm-hmm.
and fighting for love and expression of love. And there's so much shame behind nudity or sensual or sexual expression. And I think that this is often in the eyes of the beholder. And she is, wow, when one day you will meet her and she enters a room and she's just like, there's so much love emanating from her being. And it just kind of like infects the room. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I can feel when she enters a dance space that so many people just like their vibration of love is changed. It's
Yeah.
so crazy.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Just with the video, I mean, I'll share some of my thoughts with the video because when I saw the reaction, I was furious. Not with you guys, but with the reaction because even if I thought a lot about what the concern might be, and I think a lot of people were coming from a place of fear of like, oh no, if people see this, then they'll brand Zouk as this sexual dance, then everyone's going to do this, and then it's going to get banned in countries again, and it's going to kill Zouk, like so they're feeling threatened. So okay, I felt like if that was the perspective, the way that they handled it was awful. It was just awful. Like a concern like that. If it's not going to be private, like, did you get any private messages or anything like before this big like outrage about like, hey, maybe you should make this You know what I mean? Like anything like that. But beyond that, since they didn't, it was just like it just made me think like a lot of these dancers, they have an incredible amount of power just because we've all looked up to these big names, right? And so the analogy that comes to mind is if you're like a basketball player and you're learning, and then you're doing it, and then there's someone films you at like a little private game in the Midwest, and then Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and everyone, LeBron, they all get on and be like, "This is not basketball. This is terrible." Like that's just a horrible thing to experience. Like, what are you doing? That's not how you handle that. But I really felt for you guys, and it's I felt bad that you had to experience that. And I usually try to keep my opinions out of these videos, but this is something I felt so strongly about that I just wanted to share that with you. Of just like, you know, I just really felt for the two of you, and especially having seen so many Zouk videos where all of these pros, it might have been 10 years ago, and they don't remember that they shot, they're in this video, in Amsterdam, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. It's like there are sexy videos with a lot of these pros, it was heartbreaking. Honestly, it was disappointing and heartbreaking to see some of the community respond in the way that they did. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you, just to know. I mean, and I think at the time I even sent you just like a little message like, hey, just keep on doing what you're doing, like don't worry about all that. But I guess that's a part of being an artist, right? Is like people might have some strong opinions, which I guess that shows that your art is working. So
Yeah, this was another thing that like mm, art is super, like one piece of work. I think it's powerful when everybody has their own opinion about it, and
yeah,
that it's not a clear cut. This is what this is for.
right,
And I started like I think that the reason why I wanted to do graphic design or advertising or marketing, things like this, is that I can sit and create something and it can affect thousands of people.
yeah,
Um, I think thousands of people had some kind of strong feelings about this moment, and good, bad, neutral. I don't know. I think it hit a lot of people or touched a lot of people in some kind of way. And yeah, I don't think that I'm on either side. I can see the good, I can see the bad, I can see lots of different opinions on either side of this. Um, I think at parts of my life I would feel similarly, I feel the perspective of all of the people. Also why I didn't really respond because I think there's a lot of ways to feel this video.
yeah, yeah. It's just a dance too. There's no at the end of the day, it's just a dance. It's a couple dancing in a bar or wherever you were in Bali. Like, let them have their dance. That's how, you know what I mean. Just like let them dance. Whatever. Who cares. But no, it's powerful art, and yeah. So yeah. So Simone, you say you just started dating Simone, right? Like I mean, not just, but yeah. When this video started, you started dating about a month or so prior and all that. Dating in the scene has always been like a tricky thing. So like, because you've been in the scene for a long time, it's been your whole circle, and I don't really have anything I'm driving at this, but like, how do you manage? Because I met, like when I met you, you were a different partner when I met you at Zouk, when I saw you at Zouk Family, and I met your partner at that time and all that. Like, yeah, how have you navigated dating within the scene, but not letting it mess up your scene with when things go sideways? Maybe things don't go sideways for you. I don't know. Yeah, how do you manage all that?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting question. It's like a deep thing.
Yeah,
Um, I think that being transparent and communicating is super important to any relationship. Um, to doing things in love instead of fear is also very important. Um, have I had relationships that went sideways and affected me? Yes, for sure.
unreal.
Had I had, I feel like all the relationships that I've had have taught me what I like about relating is that it shows me so much that I need to work on. When something goes sideways, probably it's me, and probably at some point I will be able to see what I was doing and grow from it. So yeah, I think that it's just a growing process. I think that I'm super fortunate that although I mean, relationships in life, business, dance, friendships, intimate partnerships, whatever, they all have moments of going sideways. And I think it depends on how you can respond to it and grow from it or react to it that ultimately affect uh, life. I don't know. So yeah, I think that in the last 10 years, I've dedicated my life to dance. So really, I don't have people outside of dance. I remember when I first started dance, I was telling my dance teachers at the time, Stacy and Hugo, they're from West Coast Swing, guys, you need to have some fucking friends outside of dance. And yeah, now I don't really think that I have, I think all my relationships in general, friendships, business, everything has just been inside of dance. And even now, when I'm living in Bali and kind of opening myself up a little bit more, allowing things outside of dance to affect my life. And yeah, pretty much still most of the people that I spend all my time with is like Zookers or people who I would love to introduce to Zouk.
How was that scene
Uh,
out there? Go. Oh, wait, sorry. Go ahead. Before we go through that, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
so yeah, I think that dating within dance, I think it's just about communication. I think that uh, being super clear on how you are, mm, being super clear on what you expect, what others expect. Um, yeah, I think that's the most important part. And if you have good communication, you know, maybe jealousy comes up, maybe challenges come up, but if you just communicated about it, express yourself, mm, most of the time it just kind of dissipates.
Yeah, I feel like it's. I mean, like with like a certain wing of the Zoot community, um, which, yeah, it's like poly is a big thing, and managing all that. I don't know how to handle. I don't know personally. I don't know how to manage all of that. But some seems like people have somehow figured out how to manage all those feelings and have a healthy life. So yeah, so that's cool. Um, you mentioned the scene out there. How yeah, like so. Tell me more about the Zouk scene. Like I think I saw that you're are you teaching like a whole full roster? Is that you're part of a crew or what is all of that?
Yeah, I'm not teaching. Every now and then I share some information. I love to share information, but normally it's on a one-on-one basis. Every now and then, like last year, I was doing some small organizing of like bringing people together to train and sharing some thoughts, but not really teaching. But we have amazing local teachers. We have two Indonesians, Stacy and Duani. They've been here for years, working, growing the scene, sharing information. And then recently we had Laisa uh, fully moved to Bali. She was living in Australia before, and now she's fully living here. Elvina and Modestus, mm, they've been here for some years now, and they also put love into the community and are teaching. Elvina just brought Fabricio here for the next 4 months. So the scene is really growing. We have a lot of people investing a lot of energy into the scene here. And I'm just here. I like to party. I like to dance. I want to dance every day. For 10 years, I danced every day. And so when I came here, it was like they have one party a week, and that's not enough for me. So
Right.
I would rent a nice Airbnb and just invite everybody over to dance 6 days a week, and everybody being like six people.
Right.
um, but with I think that with that many parties and that much opportunity to dance, people then want to grow and get better, you know.
Mhm.
And then I left. I came back in September. It was like, yeah, when I would go to the socials, there was like three, maybe five couples dancing. But kind of did the same thing, just like make sure there's dance every day. And this time there was more support from the other teachers. They started putting more classes, and the scene. I think we have a WhatsApp group, and in September, from the first time I was here for a couple months, we put about 150 people into the group chat, which is pretty amazing. And
Wow.
now, from September of last year till now, I think we have 450 people in the group chat.
Oh my God. Wow.
And an average party is like easily 10 couples, 20 couple, maybe not 20 couples average, but we've had parties that are more than 20 couples.
Yeah.
Yeah, just people are excited to dance, and with this much momentum, and like when people are like, "Oh, I like what you guys are doing. What is that called?" We're like, "Zouk." "Oh, when can I learn?" "Oh, today, tonight, tomorrow." They're like, "Oh, I can't come tonight." "Okay, we'll come tomorrow." There's like
Uh huh.
classes every
Yeah.
single day, parties every day. So the scene is growing super fast, and so I don't even really feel like I'm involved or doing anything. I'm just telling people to come to Bali and telling people about Zouk, going to dance in all different kinds of places, ecstatic dance, contact dance. I started Tantra has recently entered my life, and we
Hmm.
just go and dance during the meditations there. Just dancing all the time, and people are curious and excited, and then kind of join. So I feel like I'm not teaching. I'm actually investing a ton of time and money, but there's not really a return for me in the short term. But the return for me is like I would love Bali to be the biggest scene in Asia to dance, Zouk, and I would love it to be the yummiest community in the world. There's talk that Brenda, Paloma want to live here. Anderson
Hmm.
has some ideas to also do that. Um, Yesterday, I got a message from Melissa that she wants to come out here for some time. Um, so my dream is to like somehow manage to get like this group of dancers to live here,
Yeah.
and I think this will then just bring people out. And I already feel that like the socials that we're having right now, like for some time, Bali's like the land of goddesses. It's a very feminine place. There's super powerful women here. We have a lot of very powerful women in Zouk. And for
Hmm.
so long, like the beginning of this year, like September, it would be like three leaders and nine women, like
Hmm.
uh like way excess amount of followers. And so since December, I've really been manifesting to bring in strong leaders from outside um, to um, to inspire the men here and to get the women excited, um, and to not have six women sitting on the side while they just wait all night to dance.
Yeah.
And last night's party, there was like four men sitting out. I remember like seeing like at some point like William Fabricio, I don't know, like very good dancers sitting out, and
Hmm.
there's no follow. Like I was also sitting out. I was like, wow, there's like great leaders sitting out, and all the women are dancing.
Yeah.
And there was like, I think I counted like 15 couples on the floor. Yeah, this is amazing. So my dream is just to pump people, just let them know about what's happening in Bali. It's a beautiful place. It's very cost effective to live here. Um, I feel like I'm living like a king here
Hmm.
and spending very small amount of money, like the same amount of money that I was spending on Uber.
Right. 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 What's and then there isn't there a there's an annual retreat, right? Like the or a marathon or what is it? Like a week long event? Is that are you involved with that?
We have tons of events. We have like an event a month, something like that,
Oh
sometimes
wow.
more.
Okay.
I mean, last week we had two weekenders: Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like Thursday and Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Oh
Um,
wow.
so yeah, we have events all the time. We have a lot of stuff happening. That the My favorite event here is called the Zouk Embodiment, and they have a
Hmm.
retreat and marathon. So this year it's like I think like a 4 or 5 day retreat, 4 or 5 day marathon.
Yeah.
It's like end of September to beginning of October, and then a 2 week retreat. So they're like three separate events, but made by the same company, Zouk. I do media for them.
Okay.
But yeah, I think this event is epic, like top event in the world. I've been to a lot of events, and it's in the most beautiful resort. It's like epic resort on a cliff with like a valley and nature and rice fields around. Last year we had like 150 people for the marathon and like half of those people for the retreat. It's a super
That's
nice
right.
event.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard about that one. I was looking into going to that, but yeah, it didn't work out. I remember it being a little bit pricey too. Is it something like I want to say it was like $2,000, something like that for that event?
Yeah,
Does
something
that
like that.
ring a bell? Yeah.
Um, the retreats that I've been attending, not just in Zouk,
Mm-hmm.
um, they normally have a price tag around $1,000, $2,000. I really, really value and enjoy these kind of containers.
Mm-hmm.
Even before I came to Bali, I just started entering more of these kind of events. I think in Zouk there's like the festivals, which are like a box in a hotel
Yeah.
with lots of people. You really get to see people there and dance a lot. Then there's like weekenders. That's like one couple. I don't know. There's a bunch of marathons that are just dancing, and then there's these retreats. And I really like these small, intimate events with like 20, 40 people, smaller containers, where maybe it's 1 week long, 2 weeks, and you really deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I feel that the price tag really changes the type of people who go.
Yeah.
Um, the people who go to event with an investment that's that big,
Yeah.
really they are choosing to invest in themselves and go deep. So I want to be around people who are really investing in themselves. Um, the amount of depth that goes in that you go into in those kind of containers is really beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel super happy that we have one of those events here. We have a couple. We have a 1 month teacher training by Laisa. It's like 300
Mm-hmm.
hour teacher training. She also just finished the Bali Zouk retreat. I think it's not hers, but she's involved. Um, both of them are, yeah, the thousands of dollars price range, but they're very deep events. We have a training that's coming up that's $1,500. It's like 3,000 for the couple.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so yeah, like I think that these events, I value these kind of events. This is kind of where I'm doing all my training.
Oh, that's fair. Okay. Um, can we nerd out for a second? Because I don't know if you know. Years ago, I was a photographer myself. I shoot a lot of video. So like, what's your kit? What do you shoot with these days? Are you a Sony guy? Are you a yeah?
Yeah, so 1 year for 1 year I was using the SL1 and a Nifty 50.
Yep.
Both were gifted to me, and I started my career on that. And then at some point, the camera broke.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a friend dropped my camera, and it just busted. So
Oh
then
man. Yeah.
I was gonna replace it all, and was like, maybe it's time to step up. So I ended up in the Sony family. A bunch of friends were shooting Sony, and I didn't have enough money to buy a lens, but I got my hands on a A7 III, and
Okay.
then I borrowed lenses for a while until I could buy my own. And yeah, I've kind of stayed with Sony since then. Um, I went through like three Sony A7 III bodies. What most people don't know is that cameras have a shelf life, kind of like a car.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And after, I don't know, 250,000 shots, the camera's gone. So I busted a bunch
Yep.
of shutters. I shoot like 10,000 plus photos a weekend. I'm
Mm-hmm.
kind of a crazy shooter. So yeah, every 6 months I was replacing my 7 III. And then I found out that the A9 has like double the shutter life
Mm-hmm.
and is a monster camera and twice the price tag. But if the camera life is the same, I might as well upgrade. So I
Yeah.
upgraded to the A9 right before COVID. Money was really happening in photos. I was like charging $2,000 a photo shoot at that time, so it
Yeah.
was super worth it for me to upgrade. And then COVID happened, and then I switched to video, and the A9 is fairly terrible for a video.
Yeah,
It's like an
yeah. So I
amazing
heard. Yeah.
photo camera and very subpar video camera, but that's what I've been using. I'm
Hmm.
ready to upgrade again. Um, so maybe I switch to the A7 IV or the A7S4. I
Okay.
don't really care, to be honest, about equipment.
Yeah.
We can nerd out about it,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But actually, I think that it's more about what you see and the
Yeah.
moment that you randomly happen to be. I think some of my best work was done on my cell phone, on my like, what was it? I was using like an iPhone 4 and then upgraded to the Galaxy S8 and made some of my best work on the S8 without
Yeah.
a gimbal or anything.
Yeah. It's just like yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But my
Yeah.
favorite lens,
Yeah.
the
Go ahead.
35. I
Oh,
did,
35. Okay.
I think since the beginning when I switched over to Sony, the 35 1.4 Rokinon is like the best lens. It's super durable. I've gone through three of them. I really treat my tools like tools. You know, it's like a hammer. I'm here to use
Yeah.
it, and if it gets broken, I buy another one. Um, I've
Yeah.
used different lenses. The 35 I used super seriously for years. Um, I used the 16 1.4 crop sensor from Sigma. This was like for a while my favorite social dance lens.
Hmm.
I got a lot of flack in both of them. You know, everybody used the 85 for portraits, and they
Yeah.
used not a super wide lens for dance. And I felt like I got a lot of hate actually from using these different lenses, but eventually people were like, "Ah, oh, this is just what he's doing,"
Yeah. It's
and
a
then I
style.
got a lot of
Hmm.
people liking it. So now at the moment, I shoot mainly my dance videos on 11 1.8 from Sony.
Hmm.
It's also a crop lens. Um, yeah, trying to find a super wide lens that's fast. It's not super heavy and not $3,000 is very hard to find.
I was gonna say that's yeah. That's the hard part is the less than 3,000. Yeah, they're all very expensive. Very expensive. So yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, I've been
Yeah.
playing with these crop sensor lenses.
Okay, yeah, like it's funny you mentioned. I'm glad you mentioned that because a lot of pros, because a lot of people are interested in video, shooting video for dance, and all the pros that I know that work in video like full time, they're just like it's like like just like you said, it's a tool. You know what I mean? Like just what you give me something, I'll figure out how to shoot with it, and then I'll figure out like its sweet spot and do that. So glad you mentioned that. We're close to an hour, so I did like, was there anything that you wanted to touch on that we haven't already? Like, is there anything that you wanted to share or talk about or touch on?
Hmm. I feel like my life is very crazy. I
How
feel
so?
like I've lived like 10 lifetimes.
Uh huh.
Uh, I had a super strange childhood. Mm, I feel like most people see me and have a different perception of me, which is very valid because I'm changing all the time. Um, so maybe
Can I
you
ask
have
you about
some.
that? Oh, sorry. Go
Sure.
ahead. Well, just the child, can you say a bit about your crazy childhood? Like what, like, say, yeah, what, like how so? How is it? Just a bit about it.
Mm, so, for example, I'm Japanese. Um, both my parents were Japanese, but I traveled the world. Mm, like before I was two, I pretty much went to like 50 different countries. Um, Growing up, basically we spent 3 months in the US, 3 months in Japan, 3 months traveling in a motorhome across North America, and 3 months traveling internationally. This kind of really affected my childhood in random ways. Mm, I recently was thinking about it, like, oh, that's probably why I have some aversion to super deep relations
Yeah.
because yeah, I'm really good at 3 month relationships. And
Hmm. Hmm.
it makes sense, like, you know, my childhood was like 3 months, 3 months, 3 months, 3 months. So um yeah, this was like really interesting, you know, school was really challenging or not challenging, I'm not sure. It was like I'm 3 months in the US in school, 3 months mm, writing in a journal and seeing, I don't know, some big hole in the ground called the Grand Canyon, or like some smelly water called the Yellowstone National Park geyser thing. Like I
Yeah.
hated it as a child, and
Why did your
I
parents
just
travel
wanted.
so much?
My dad at some point was a writer and photographer for National Geographic. Um, then he was freelance writing. So basically, he would spend 3 months creating content, and then 3 months at home doing something with this content. My mom, she was a travel agent. Among both my parents did tons of things, but at the time, my mom was a travel agent, and so we'd go pay respects to her customers in Japan. And then, yeah, international travel was something along the lines of both of my parents doing stuff. Um, my dad was also a pilot, not really when I was with him, but travel was just kind of like in our family.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
But I'm
Wow.
thankful now. My whole life is like this, like now I kind of like learned from the way they were living life. And although they don't like it that I'm not doing the traditional American dream, I feel super thankful that somehow the way the lifestyle they were having has kind of just become my life. And I didn't like it back then, but it's so funny that dance kind of entered my life, and my whole family was dancing, and I was not. I was very happy to hide at home and play video games,
Hmm.
and never thought that I would dance. And then now my whole life is dance, and I didn't really like traveling as a kid, but now it's my whole life too.
Wow. So it's a little surprising considering that they traveled so much that they aren't more supportive of your travel lifestyle, right?
Yeah, I think that they really wanted me to have the American dream. Like they did what they could to kind of make it work in America. Um, and then, I'm sure they want me. They were so proud when I got this corporate job. I was an art director at an advertising agency. They were so proud. They were so happy when I started making more money than them combined at like the age of 21. Um, yeah, they were just super proud of me. And then when I decided to leave all that to dance, they were like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yep. Yep. Yeah. But sorry, I'll let you continue because I interrupted you to ask you about your childhood, but I think you were saying something. Um, um, cause I'd asked as far as like if was there something you wanted to touch on. Do you remember?
I think there's tons of things that I could touch on. I think that if you have questions, feel free to ask, and I'll happily share. Mm,
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Because there's because you. I feel like over the years, because we've been running sort of in the same circles and crossing paths a lot over these past several years in Zouk. But you are a bit of for me a bit of a mystery, right? Because I usually see you're the guy that shoots great photos and does great videos that is like comes and goes in the wind, and I think just among leads, like from one lead to another, just we don't have a lot of conversations. You know what I mean?
correct.
It's just like, hey, how's it going? Hey,
That's
and
it.
that's it. You know what I mean? Yeah, and it's just like, yeah, um, yeah. So I mean, yeah, like there's, I can definitely tell that there is a lot, um, that I feel yeah, there's a lot. I won't say a lot to you because that sounds weird to say, but I would say there's that I can tell that there's a lot beneath the surface, but I'm just not certain of what is there. You know what I mean? Like what it is.
I think since I started dance, I had this dream of like dance saved my life. I feel like it saved my life. I was working corporate job in the corporate structure of life, doing everything that I was told to and really crushing it. I was feeling very happy. And then dance kind of came along and swept me up and showed me that like, oh, these are not my dreams. These are other people's dreams that I'm following.
Mm-hmm.
And so kind of the last 10 years have been all about how can I share this thing that changed my life, and how can I yeah, at the time it was like, how can I save other people? How can I show people that dance is not for, when I grew up, it was like dance is for gay people.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
that if you're a dancer, you're gay or you're a fairy or you're not cool. And
Yeah.
yeah, my perspective on that's changed a lot. I love
Right.
dance.
Right. Yeah.
It's amazing. So, yeah, that basically the last 10 years have been all about that. Like, how can I share this dance? How can I've done so many different things in the dance world, but all of it's been for the same mission of like uh, learning about myself, growing myself, healing myself, and also sharing that with other people. I've done a lot of projects. I think that like when I started, I feel that photos, videos, merchandise is one of the most cost-effective ways to market the dance.
Yeah.
And so I explored all of those. At first, I was like super excited to come into the dance world and bring all my ideas. You know, I was marketing for the PGA and doing big corporate America things. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to change everything. I'm going to like dance is such an untapped market. There's so much to do here. And everybody's like 40 years behind in marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, when I came and really went with that energy, it was like, wow, okay, there's a lot more to it. The budgets are 1% of what I had. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's such a different community. So then I just decided, like, people were like, it's possible to do XYZ. And I was like, okay, it's impossible. Let me see what happens if I try. And, you know, when I started t-shirt sales, t-shirts were something that I did big in Zouk, West Coast Swing.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of afforded me to travel for 3 years. And people were like, no one's ever going to buy a $35 shirt. And I did that and made a living from that. And then people were like, no one's going to pay for dance videos, social dance videos. And a lot of people told me that. And then a lot of those people ended up buying videos from me in the future.
Right.
Uh, yeah, I feel like it's very hard to make a full-time living in dance.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that if you're passionate about it, okay with investing a lot of energy and time, that you can do anything you want and anything.
Right.
So now that I've explored all those avenues, um, just wanting to help other people who are having this dream to dance full time, you know, like Preston's crushing it now. And I feel like in some way he's like my little apprentice.
Yeah, yeah,
um,
he is everywhere right now. Yeah, he's definitely crushing
I'm
it.
so proud of him. But I met him
Yeah.
before he even started Zouk, you know, like I
Mm-hmm.
was doing a bunch of projects and yeah, when he started, I felt like I was helping him out or sharing information
Yeah.
and watching him grow is beautiful. And I feel like I helped out a lot of people who are starting out in media stuff. And this is my dream, just to put the dance on the map and pray that Zouk can be like tango, you know, like or salsa. Everybody
Yeah.
knows what tango and salsa is, and I would love the dance that I'm doing, whether it's West Coast Swing or Zouk or whatever, um, to be in the forefront of people's minds when they think about dance in the general sense.
So I'll ask you. Let me ask you a question that. So okay. So just given your experience with the sort of the bosses, if you will, the dance. I joke. I don't know much of a joke, but I've said like the dance police. Like you know what I mean. Like oh, like when they responded to your video, did that sour your opinion of Zouk or however they see Zouk? Like or were you like no, I'll do what I do or like yeah, what was your
Yeah, I think my initial reaction was like, "Wow, I feel like I invested my life for this, and this is what I'm getting back." You know,
yeah
uh, I think I've put more into Zouk than 99% of the people in the 10 years that I was doing it. You know,
yeah
or 7 years really. Um, and at the same time, I think that it was really a big space for me to understand and to grow and to learn, to understand that like, yeah, people don't really know what's going on in my head. People don't really know much, and that's okay. I'm not out here like shouting out what I'm doing or telling people much about me at all. I'm just doing.
yeah
And sometimes what I do is well received, sometimes what I do is not received. But either way, nobody really knows that like my dream is to grow this dance and to help people save themselves. And I think now I need to rethink that even like I think that that's a very egoic way to think about life, that I can save people, you know. But
I mean, well,
um,
but you said that it saved you though, right? Like that
yeah,
is that, and then so like how did it save you? Like what did it give you that you were missing?
yeah, the freedom of expression.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, you know, like for years, I really go deep into whatever I'm doing. And for example, right before dance, I was like super into Magic the Gathering. I was
Okay.
like ready to be on the pro tour. Um, Other parts of my life, you know, I was doing a lot of video game stuff. I was pushing in all kinds of different areas of my life that I was really into. And I've always been like an entrepreneur, like little baby entrepreneur, wheeling my sister's Girl Scout cookies to like the houses next door or whatever, ever since I was like
Mm-hmm.
a really little child. And so, of course, like any hobbies that I was doing, I was trying to figure out how to make those work in all areas of my life. Um, and doing little businesses on the side. And dance was one of the first ones that really allowed me to do everything, that I could align my whole life to dance, and I could feel the effects of like the impact of my efforts being seen. Um, Sorry, what was the question?
How did Zouk change you or save you? Not change you, save you.
Yeah, so I think it showed me the idea that I can have a dream, my own dream.
Uh-huh.
Um, it Before dance, you know, like I was traveling for magic, and that was like, wow, I can't believe that people fly to Chicago or to different parts of the world to like do this thing. And when I
Mm-hmm.
started dancing, people were like going to events, and I was like, people are spending all their money traveling to different places. It like really opened up my mind. Um, I quit my dream career because I really realized something. You know, I when I started West Coast Swing, I was like, I went to my boss and was like, hey, here is my schedule for the year, my 10 days vacation, um, for the next year. Here's how I'm going to spend my vacation. And he was like laughing, like, no, you come and check in on Friday at 4:30 and we decide if you can go or not.
Oh gosh.
And I was like, it was just a huge slap in the face, you know? I'd been there for like almost 5 years. I felt like I had like a pretty senior position. I felt like I can easily ask for 10, like my 10 days of vacation. I can like plan it out. And I sat back down at my desk and was like, am I working to live or am I living to work? And I realized that like in this moment, it kind of feels like I'm living to work.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that I then thought about this for some time and decided, okay, I'm going to put my 3 months in. I had tons of support from my friends and my dance teachers at the time, and decided like, okay, I'm living the dream that other people put down for me. I loved my work at the time. I was really enjoying the work that I was doing. It was the dream that I dreamed of forever. But when I realized that I'm kind of a slave to this job,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I just put in my 3 months. They were like, hey, we'll give you a raise. We'll give you whatever you want. How do we keep you? And I was like, no, I think I want to really, you know, push into this dream that I have of traveling and dancing and doing this thing. And they're like, okay, well, when you're done with that phase, come back and you have a job, you have a raise, things are going to be great. And yeah, I just kind of left. And I feel like that was a big part of saving my life, you know, like mm, following my dreams, exploring something, even though it was super risky. I had really good money back then. Um, and just kind of going and being some kind of mm, charity case for the dance world.
Oh yeah, yeah. Were there a lot of a lot of couches that you know?
Wow. I didn't pay for a place to stay really for almost 8 years.
8 years.
This was like, wow. I
I hope you sent a
remember,
lot of thank you cards.
yeah, I'm so grateful for the magic that happened. You know, when I started traveling, um, I remember going out to California and being told to, from Florida to California in the dance scene that I was part of, they were like, yeah, California people are like, yeah, I don't know, something like total dicks.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
And they'll never take care of you out there. They're blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And my whole life is kind of like this. People tell me what things are, and then I'm like, okay, thanks for sharing. Let me go explore for myself.
Yeah.
And I felt that, wow, I was so taken care of. And I remember it was crazy. I'd be like, I would just post in like I would message the organizer and be like, hey, I'm a traveling dancer. I have no money, but I'm coming to explore. If you know anybody that I can sleep on their couch, that would be awesome. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember some nights there was like no place for me to sleep. And I'd be
Yeah.
like, ask the DJ, like, hey, can you ask people, anybody that I can crash with tonight? And there would be
Uh-huh.
times where like he'd get on the microphone and be like, hey, there's this guy here that doesn't have a place to sleep tonight. And there was like in 8 years, like 2 nights where I didn't have a place to sleep.
Uh-huh.
One night I remember like I was in San Francisco on a bus stop bench with my bags, kind of sleeping on the bus stop. I think I had like, I don't know, a travel early in the morning, and I was like, yeah, fuck it. The party ended at 2. It took me like till 3 to get to wherever I needed to go. And what's a 2 or 3 hour nap out here? So I
Yeah.
napped, and I remember like some homeless guy coming and being like, hey, buddy. Like, I was like, wow, this is like a new low for me. Like the homeless guys think I'm homeless.
Right, right, right. You're like, well.
So I don't know. There was tough times. Like I remember there was one month where I had like $20 to my name, and I
Mm-hmm.
made it work for a month. I was living in OC. I just remember buying bread and ramen and eggs and making it.
Just stretching
Um,
it. Yeah.
and then there's times when I have like tens of thousands of dollars in my bank account, and like, wow, I can't believe my life is like this. So
Yeah.
then, like I said, I met Elvina, and she really changed my life, my perspective on everything. I remember she was really taking care of herself and living in nice places and investing in that way. I was like, wow, you're wasting a lot of money. But uh, I started to do that, and I felt like my life changed. I opened myself up to like abundance rather than really holding on to the little bit that I have,
The scarcity.
and
Yeah.
life completely changed.
So what's next for you in this life?
Hmm. I don't know. Choosing to want to live in one place is a huge change for me.
Yeah.
I spent 10 years looking for a place that I could call home. Sao Paulo felt kind of like that. Warsaw kind of felt like that. Seattle actually
Mm-hmm.
kind of felt like that. But when I came to Bali, it was like, it really felt like that. So, yeah, putting Bali on the map. Um, I've had a dream for more than 10 years of creating a co-working space ever since I was in college. Back then, it was not about dance. It was just about a cool workspace for creatives.
Yeah.
Now that I'm in movement, uh, kind of the same thing, like a co-working space for people who move.
Yeah.
Um, so here, I want to create like a little Zouk village, like a retreat center or some kind of space where there's like multiple houses on the space, people that are masters of what they're doing and looking to keep growing themselves, a space to create, to just yeah, I don't know, like a unicorn factory.
Okay.
um
Yeah.
and I would love, in the 10 years that I've been doing stuff, I see a lot of places where we're just inefficient. The marketing for dance as a whole is quite subpar, and
Yeah.
we're investing a lot of time and money for really terrible results, I think.
Mm-hmm.
um and so now that I'm stationary, it, putting some small investment and time into figuring out how to explore. Tons of content is being created for dance now, but what are we doing with it? We're like posting it on YouTube or Instagram, not even really posting on TikTok so much,
Yeah.
and that's it. And I think that there's probably I mean, I know there's like lots of ways to use this content. And so I would like to explore that. I would like to explore creating some structures where dancers can just pay in for like a small reoccurring fee to have
Mm-hmm.
some kind of marketing and branding done for them. You know, all the artists, most of them, they put a lot of effort into marketing and it's very not good. And there's just so much wasted energy put into marketing, and the reach of their marketing is most of it is pretty subpar. So figuring out an efficient and effective way to market and advertise, um, I think that's important for me. So creating some projects for myself, like the community building here, maybe putting together the Zouk village, um, promoting and advertising events here. It's stuff that I need anyway. And as I
Mm-hmm.
build a team to help me do this, then just invite others to join. Uh, yeah,
Oh, I want to ask you about this. This is something. So, because you created "We Are the Street was it "We Are the Street Dancers"?
we are street
Was that
dancers.
your, or "We Are Street Dancers"? That was your creation, right? That's your company.
Mhm.
And then, so like, how did that work? Because at first I thought it was just you, but then did you bring on several photographer or videographers to help with that?
I don't know. Basically, it was just a project, build a community around dance.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I was like following Mark and Melissa
Yeah.
and the other people that are like really endorsed by Adidas. And the idea was to, just put dance on the map in this way.
Yeah.
Um, Towards the end, uh, I was really looking for help, and I brought on some
Yeah.
people. Kai from Poland, he was helping me out for like a month or two, like 2 months, I think. He did
Mm-hmm.
coverage in Brazil and Mexico with me. Every now and then, like Alex jumped on for a little bit, recently, like in the last year. Um, yeah, so just I was trying to create a platform for media creators to put their work out there. Um, and it was the beginning of this idea of like creating social dance videos and helping media creators build a full-time job within dance. I think it's super important. I think that we need professionals creating content and
Yeah.
being able to live off of it.
Is that still that does that entity still exist, or is that a done project?
I haven't put so much energy into it. After I came to Bali, I think that that project really works when I'm traveling full time.
Oh, okay.
Um, and when I'm in one place creating content in a country that the average income is like $200 a month, um, yeah, I'm not gonna live off that.
Right. Right.
uh,
Yeah.
I would love to get it going again. There's a lot of people who want to do what I was doing. I'm really good at putting energy into a project and putting my all into it. And then when it doesn't serve me, it kind of just sits while I explore something new. Um, so I would love to keep that project going. It's also like annoying. Most of my projects, so for some reason they get hacked on social media, and then it kind of just like cuts my interest in it.
What do you mean they get hacked? Like literally hacked? Like someone gets on there?
Yeah,
Like the
somebody,
password gets out?
yeah, like maybe they hack in and they put a USB key on it, or
Oh.
my my Facebook profile from beta got hacked at some point. I had like 15, 20,000 followers, and that was
Oh
really
God.
a big avenue for my reach. That
Yeah.
got hacked, and that cut me from a lot of my pages and Instagram profiles and stuff because they were all linked.
Yeah.
Uh, so when I kind of pushed into We Are Street Dancers, I kind of just let that be the platform instead of social media.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting like 500,000 views a month. Um, it was doing really well. Uh, but then
Bless
my Instagram got hacked. I don't know. I feel like I lose momentum.
you. Yeah.
Uh, I kind of just follow my heart, and where my heart goes, I put the energy. So the project is not really doing anything at the moment. but it's open to be explored. I recently was thinking about it and just posted out. If anybody wants to be a part of it, they can.
Okay. How can they? Yeah, we'll might as well do that now. Like, how can people reach you that want to get a hold of you?
My Instagram is the name is Dan. Uh, they can reach out to me on Facebook. Mm, Lately, I've been doing WhatsApp, but I would just give them my WhatsApp from there.
Okay.
Mm,
Cool.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce your last name, by the way?
Yamamoto.
Yamamoto. Okay. Cool. Um, trying to think if there's anything else I've been wanting to ask you. It wouldn't be one of these episodes unless I talked about Jack and Jill. So real quick, because I know for a little while you hit the Jack and Jills, like you like focused in and then like crushed some Jack and Jills. So like was that deliberate? How do you feel about your Jack and Jill journey? Are you done with Jack and Jills, or like yeah, like what's your thought on all that?
So I think that Jack and Jills were a big part of my life in West Coast Swing. West Coast Swing is really revolving around Jack and Jill.
Yeah.
Um, the first year of West Coast Swing, that was like my primary focus. I went from newcomer to advanced in 1 year.
Wow.
Um, then I put a hold on that because I was really focused on this project called Wandering Westie. It's my clothing line and video stuff. Then at some point, I was like, okay, now I want to get better at dance. And next thing I know, I'm an all-star in West Coast Swing within a year. Um, then I came to Zouk, and at the beginning, it was like, yeah, Jack and Jill. I don't know anything,
Yeah.
but I entered competitions and was making finals. I think I made like, I don't know, three, four finals. All the ones that I entered, I was pretty much making finals just
Yeah.
because I knew how to Jack and Jill. I think that there's a whole mentality around Jack and Jill.
Hmm.
So not because of my dance, but because I know how to Jack and Jill. And then I fell in love with the community, and Zouk is very much an internal dance for me. Um, so I followed that. The reason why I went through like a Jack and Jill spurt, I don't know, a couple years ago, is
Hmm.
because I decided I wanted to. I wasn't investing in my dance before because I was taking photos, and investing in my dance doesn't help my photo journey.
Right.
But when I switched to video, I realized, okay, this is what's really going to set me apart is being a videographer that knows how to dance and can follow the movements. And so I dedicated like 2 years training 6 hours a day, like 2 to 6 hours a day,
Hmm.
doing privates. When I first started, it was like a private a day, really, really going deep into my dance. And one of the projects that I was also adding was a video a week. So in doing that training project, yeah, I hated watching myself dance the same way every week. So then I put myself into a position where, okay, let's try to make my videos better. And for small milestones to tailor my travel experience a little bit more instead of for enjoyment or for the places I normally like to chase the sun,
Hmm.
um, to follow the PZDC tour. So
Uh-huh.
I did that for a little bit, which then kind of put an emphasis on the way my dance looks rather than the way my dance feels.
Uh-huh.
And so, yeah, it wasn't like, let's crush Jack and Jill. It was like, let's work on dance a little bit because I've been in the scene for years and never really put any effort into trying to be good at this dance. So
Hmm.
that's where my focus shifted, and that's why it shifted. And yeah, I felt like I did really well in this small window of time where I was caring about my dance. Um, and then training didn't really become a focus anymore. I really put my energy into business. Uh, so that's kind of where I felt like the amount of effort that I put into training wouldn't really impact my bottom line in business
Hmm.
at the time. So then it just kind of dropped off. I would love to go back. I think Jack and Jillian, I love to compete. I love to work hard and see the results of that hard work. Uh, yeah, secretly, I really like to crush people. I like to like idolize people and then sit on the same seat as them, you know? Uh,
Yep. Yep.
so I think that there will probably be another moment where I really get into Jack and Jilling and try to get up there with the best of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's not my current goal. My current goal is about community building, kind of all background to square one. When I first started dance, it was a lot about community building and being in the scene in Florida. And now I'm kind of trying to figure out where I can put my energy here and invest in that here. Maybe I even bring Jack and Jill into Asia. We don't really have Jack and Jill's here. There's like I think just Taiwan Zouk Festival.
Yeah, that was the first one that I know of. Oh, there's one to be one at is it Vietnam Brazuki.
Ah, yeah,
Zouk.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Actually, maybe
yeah.
maybe I entered there. We'll see.
There you go. Yeah, it's close. So yeah.
But my
Uh,
dances, I've the last 9 months really focused on comfort, on personal growth, which is then kind of trickling its way into dance. So
mhm.
not about the way my dance looks, but the way it feels or the way I feel when I dance or creating. I'm spending a lot of time in the static dance here, and that's giving my dance form, how to express myself without a partner.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that will heavily translate in the future to my dance for Zouk. Actually, Zouk
Cool.
was all about training for West Coast Swing. It was like my dance is kind of Zouky, so I'm gonna go cross train so that I have something to bring to the table in West Coast Swing. I feel like
Oh wow.
back then, at some point, I wanted to become a champion in West Coast Swing,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't really matter how good you are. I feel like it more depends on what you bring to the table and how you can
Mm-hmm.
affect the dance. And I was like, all right, I think that my entry to this can be maybe bringing a different idea of movement into the dance.
But haven't you run into so okay because like the call of Jack and Jill is that like you said like it's how you look and not necessarily how you feel, whereas the kind of Zouk that it seems like that you're exploring now and really like enjoying is all about the comfort, all about the feel. So like, do you have a concern that the Jack and Jill is going to pull Zouk into that realm of competition and like your ranking and all of that, as opposed to the most comfortable, the most connected?
I think it can be both,
Uh huh.
and I think both can coexist. I think it's important. I think Jack and Jill is super, super important to the dance culture. I think that it really puts a lot of emphasis on getting better, on taking
Mm-hmm.
lessons, training. It really uh, helps a lot of content be created. You know, People put effort
That's
and
true.
energy, time into production of competition dances. I really love the competitive aspect of the dance, and I really feel the health in the dance. I know a lot of people have different opinions on that, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Um, I also think that being comfortable and being internal is very important as well. And I think that they can coexist and they can even be part of the same thing. My dream is to uh, have this comfort and the dynamicism of like, you know, William and Paloma, Mark and Melissa. Like, I want to have this fire and this magic. Like, wow, perfection. I don't know. They're like creating epic dances and be super comfortable like Kuna or Gi.
Yeah.
Uh,
Totally.
so I think that they should both be there. And, even in my Jack and Jilling, when I go out there, normally I don't really care so much of like, how can I create a dance that uh, is the most showy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
More I'm thinking about how can I make my follow smile?
Uh huh.
If my follow can be smiling and connected and feel chill, that's a win for me. Um, that was a big mindset change and also advanced in West Coast swing. I used to like really try to know all the judges, figure out what they're looking for, and attack those points and like make a dance for them. And at some point, I realized like only one person wins, and there's like 1,000 people here every weekend. Like 500, 600, whatever, like a lot of people. And at the end of the day, all the people that are sitting up here with me are like way better dancers than me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So what can I do in this 1.5 minutes that sets me apart from everybody else? And let's just go out there and have a good time. And if my partner is happy, then I win in my head at the end of the weekend. And I'm not like, fuck, I didn't get first place. I'm prelim squad. Uh, Now, if my partners are having a good time, that's my win. That's what I'm looking for every weekend. And it's not, I'm not so much in control of that, but I have much more control of that than what the judges see.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Um, that's all I have for you. Yeah. So I mean, I'll give you one more opportunity if there's anything that percolated, whatever the word would be. Uh,
I think that everybody has their own opinions, that everybody is enjoying their life and going after what they want, what they see, and I'm okay with that. I think that's awesome. And I'm doing my best. I think everybody's been in a place where they've judged others, and yeah, I'm really trying to like be in a place where I can witness my judging, witness other people's judging, and accept that, and be okay with it. So I think a lot of this piece is about like the perception of others, and yeah, I don't know, exploring that, growing, always growing, trying to become a better person. I think that a lot of these pieces have all showed me where I'm lacking, and just trying to put effort into, I don't know, becoming a good human.
well, okay, I think we'll leave it at that. So thank you, Dan. Thank you for so much. Yeah, because scheduling is always a challenge. We're on weird time differences, and so I'm glad we were able to link up and do this. Um, uh, yeah, yeah. So I guess we'll cut it there. So that's it. That's the interview with Dan. So if you are interested in any of the videos that we talked about, along with some other parallel examples, I have put those in the description of the video. So thank you again for stopping by. Please like, subscribe, let me know, communicate, tell me how I'm doing. If it's terrible, tell me. If it's great, tell me, please. All right, thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next Zouk Line.